Hello? Is anyone there? It's been a trying few days. In fact, I think that might be a bit of an understatement. After spending some downtime in the city of Malifaux, we began to think on where we should go next. Unfortunately, that was decided for us. Ellie and I returned from lunch at Abuela Ortega's to find everyone having a good time at the gallows. Rum was flowing freely and everyone was in a great mood. But things were not as they seemed. One by one, starting with me, I'm ashamed to admit, we fell unconscious to the drugs that were laced into the rum. Nemo, who we'd only just realised we hadn't seen for 4 days somehow, was the only one who could not be affected. Still, she was convinced to join us, rather than leaving us to our fate. We all woke up in pine boxes, coffins, with no easy escape.
Don't worry me. Don't worry me. We're gonna get out. I'm gonna get you out. I'm gonna start just scratching with my claws and knowing it's futile, knowing I'm not gonna get out, but just scratching at the wood. I'm chipping my claws. I just don't care. I'm just scratching endlessly, trying to find any kind of weakness.
The wood's curling back as you're just scratching the side, scratching the top. Neve, you hear the desperation in Frey's voice muffled beside you as he does not escape.
Are we gonna die in here?
I'm not letting you die.
Can you open the coffin?
Not from the top, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I should have done something, but I didn't know what to do because the only option was to run away, but they'd already seen me, and then I can't lift you up because, you're made of...
I don't know what to do either, Emo.
It was Frey that managed to eventually break me out, but not without effort and consequence. After I'd had a moment to collect myself, we pressed on to where we found Nemo and Ellie, sharing a coffin.
The coffin gets thrown open. You see Nemo in a hospital gown laying on top of Ellie in a hospital gown. Both of them also have tags, and you guys are out. Ellie is missing her arm.
Once we were all free, Ellie explained that we were abducted by Bradley Cannon, someone from her past that she retains a lot of guilt about, it seems. I've never seen her so disheartened, but we had to keep going. We couldn't just give up.
We can't atone by just letting ourselves die. We do better than we did before. We put more good in the world than bad. That's how we fix this. Not dying, not giving up. Please don't give up yet. You have us. I wanna go eat tacos again and laugh and be out of here and not be a medium quality piece of meat.
That would be nice.
All we can do is our best.
Okay. See what I can do.
Thank you.
We began to look for Tobias. With very few exits available to us, we crawled into a drain full of flesh and viscera. Eventually, however, we found the right place. And we found Tobias, drugged and strapped to an operating table. If that wasn't bad enough, all of the flesh from the top of his hand had been removed entirely. I injected him with anesthetic, but I had to give him a stimulant to help the morphine wear off so he could stay alert as we orchestrated our escape.
I'm sorry. Come here.
Grab me, shoulder.
Here, let's get you up. I know. Breathe with me. Ready? Come on. In. Okay. I'm so sorry.
Where are we?
I don't know entirely. I'm so sorry, but I can't have you that drugged. If they come for us, I need you awake. I need you aware. I'm so sorry. Come on, one more time. Okay. All right. I'm taking these with me. We'll get you drugged up as soon as we get out of here, and you won't have to deal with the pain, okay? Come on, let's go.
Okay.
We found our way into the hallway of this place, but soon heard someone approach. Ellie and Nemo darted into cold storage while Frey, Tobias and I made our way into the office. In the office I discovered the whereabouts of our belongings, the sewers, and also who our jailer was. The notorious Dr. McMourning, who kept a framed letter in his otherwise dishevelled office.
To my dearest friend, despite the whispering rumors of your oddities, I know you have a good heart. With your medical expertise, I doubt Sonia would still be with us. I will never forget what you have done, and no matter what happens, I will have your back. Thank you for your hard work and the sacrifices you have made. Lady Justice.
Ellie and Nemo, however, had less luck, as it seemed that cold storage was where the man with the saw was headed. Though the three of us didn't witness it, some quick thinking on Nemo's part saved Ellie from being seen, and they had an emotional moment together.
Sebastian hates when the meat tries to escape. Is this meat still alive? Can have a lot of meat inside. Got to chop it up. Make sure it's dead for the doctor.
As Nemo does get close to Ellie, Nemo, you find Ellie on the ground, now not hidden behind anything, but just sort of looks up in your direction. There's a fear, there's a lot of emotions, but fear is the predominant one, sort of like a helpless fear. And as you draw close, she just slowly gets up, shivering in the cold, and gives you a hug.
Yeah, Nemo will hold Ellie back and say, I don't care. I really don't care what you did or if you deserve it. I don't care and I'll never care. You're my family, Ellie.
As you say that, you see a wave of relief wash over Ellie. And you're mine. I love you. Let's get out of this.
Nemo's nighttime friend helped her decide where to go next, but we were still somewhat at a loss. After some exploration, we ended up in the operating theatre. It was full of dead bodies. Each sat in the audience like eager attendees. It was all a bit gruesome. And then, perhaps the worst happened. The man from cold storage, Sebastian, entered the operating theatre, trapping us there. There was no way to escape without being seen, but Nemo managed to steal his keys before we made a run for it, trying our best to keep him distracted. Throwing ourselves against the door to keep him out proved fruitless, and Frey took the brunt of the hit, landing directly on his saw. His black blood sprayed all over us, burning our skin, and we knew our only hope was to run.
You get up, you're not thinking straight, you dive to it, but like some sort of bad construction site accident, the door gets nudged and you dive chest first right into the saw. Everybody is around you, so everybody's gonna take a point of the blood damage.
Oh god.
With Tobias and Ellie in the lead, we briefly believed we were running into a dead end, but luckily, Tobias spied a vent.
You see, behind one of the turned over hospital beds, there's a vent, a grate. It's pretty small, but judging by the size of that massive saw, you don't think he's going to be able to get in with it.
Toby, as you notice the grate, you just hear Ellie sort of has turned, noticing the dead end, right? Has not seen the grate at all. And you just hear her being like, you always leave a way out. I'm a dandelion. And she's just turned, and she's gonna go back in, and she's gonna go kill this guy.
Ellie, no, wait!
After a bit of a kerfuffle about who was going to be the one to hold off Sebastian, We all made it into the vent, where we crawled through more death and blood. En route to our unknown destination, we overheard Dr. McMourning working on one of his undead patients, and Tobias picked up a suspicious magical doctor's bag. The vent let out into the sewer drain, where our belongings were, but with a steep drop. Lost for answers, I checked the doctor's bag that Tobias had passed to me and found nothing. At least that's what I told the others anyway. What it actually revealed to me was much more grim. It appears to be a magic item that can reveal the deaths of those relevant to us. It turns out the private whom Ellie delivered a gun to had chosen to use it to end his life.
And you find a crumbled piece of paper. When you pull it out, it is a obituary. Rated for today. When you read it, it talks about how a young man recently committed suicide on the wall, that his gun was taken away from him because he was struggling with the horrors of the wall. But despite what his commanding officers did, he somehow managed to find a new gun.
Maeve isn't going to say anything, just crumples the paper back up, stuffs it back in.
Okay.
Lays her out and says, "There's no hook."
No.
There's
no
nothing. There was a piece of paper in there, and it was just a clipping from a newspaper. It's trash. It's rubbish.
With very little to utilise, we removed our hospital gowns and tied them together to lower Nemo into the pit. There she found hers and Tobias's belongings first, as well as some dumped undead experiments. She returned for a second look, found mine and Ellie's belongings, but also encountered I'm not quite sure how to describe it, really. A flesh worm with numerous screaming heads doesn't much do it justice.
You look over, and Toby and Nemo, you both see that rising on the opposite side of the funnel, because this thing's moving very slow through the muck, is what looks like a worm made of stitched together flesh. But there are hundreds of human heads sewn all around it. And when it rises out, it screeches and gargles, and blood pours out of hundreds of heads. And when the mouths open, there are no teeth. You can see that the teeth have been removed, and shards of metal and broken glass have been sewed into it. And there's this choir of horrifying screams.
Then we found ourselves in between a rock and a sharp place. Sebastian had made his way into the vents with the saws, and Frey bought us some time by collapsing part of the pathway. We lowered ourselves into the pit, naked and covered in gore, and the flesh monster got stuck in the pipes as we made our escape. We found our way out into the freshwater system of Malifaux, which really says something about that, to be honest. I don't ever think I'll drink the water in Malifaux City ever again. Ellie took a moment to look over Tobias's wounds, and I tended to Frey.
Maeve looks down at Frey, kind of washes her hands, and that was foolish. You were on death's door. I was perfectly healthy. No one had hit me at all.
I heard everyone. I couldn't be the reason y'all didn't make it out.
You wouldn't have been? You didn't kill us, Frey. You splashed some blood on us. There's a bit of a difference. Your self-loathing, or your hero complex, or whatever it is, it's going to get you killed, and then where will we be?
You know, that guy, he seemed to recover from whatever the hell I was doing to him. Maybe he's like me.
Maybe he's got something in him like what you've got. Maybe the doctor put something in him. It doesn't make him like you. Also, half his brain's been removed. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You have just as much right to live as any one of the rest of us. Sacrificing yourself now just puts us one member of our group down. It doesn't do anyone any good.
Right. You're right. You're right.
And I would have missed you.
Hell, I would have missed you too. I just don't want to hurt y'all anymore. I don't want to be the reason.
I don't think any of us wants to hurt each other, but sometimes you accidentally hurt the people you love.
Exhausted, we gathered our little remaining strength, as well as our clothes, and headed into the city, back to the gallows. We need to see if Ronin's alright, gather our things, and be on our way to a more defensible location, while we decide what to do about Bradley Cannon.